Hi everyone, Thursday 9 o'clock, time for the handicap rugby chat that matters. Your host Brent Graham here joining you, and am planning to have two guests in the studio. The one I'm a little bit worried may have his times it's a bit mixed up. We'll talk about that in a second, but let's welcome the one who's here, Laura Volfart. Of course, a reference to that brilliant innings yesterday by the South African captain, leading a team. Not alone, though. I can tell you there were some other great performances as well, but an absolutely stunning turnaround win over England. And Gav, the ladies are into the final.
Brent, I read a stat earlier that said that this was the first time not the first time in a while that an English or Australian team hasn't been in the final. That's fantastic. I was Nadine de Klerk a couple of weeks ago. I'm Laura Volfart tonight. This is great. You know what? I watch this cricket barely, and I say barely. I mean, I put it on and I walk past the TV and so on. Every 15 minutes, 3-4 years ago, this team has transformed into world beaters, if not anything else.
On their day, they can beat anyone, as we've seen. Huh?
Of course, and I think they've got India's number, and whatever I'm punting on the rugby this weekend, I'm going to chuck in a bit of South Africa women cricket on the board.
Right. Well, looking ahead, joining us, we do have someone else from Ireland. Mark Dunphy is there. Our guest tonight is also Irish. Werner is in the chat, and Johan Esterhuizen as well. He's in there as well. Johan, if I remember correctly, you nailed your treble last weekend. Just let me know if that's correct. Well, we'll talk a little bit about the rugby. I'm just keeping an eye on my Twitter message to see, and I think we've probably got a bit of a mix-up with the time zones. But you and I'll carry on, Gav, and hopefully Shane. I may as well say it's Shane coming in. Hopefully he will pop up soon. Let's go to the first game then, and just having a look here. Right. Now, this is a fixture I always enjoy, Gav. England up against Australia. We've got a handicap here, -9.5 English against the Aussies, and a point sign of 52.5. Now, I'm hoping someone in the live chat can let us know what's happening with the weather there in Twickenham and Wembley and that this weekend, because I haven't had a chance to check. It's been one of those days where things have just gone absolutely crazy, and let me say wrong. I never got to do half the things I was going to do. But last year, this fixture was an incredible finish by Australia. I think it was something like 42-38 to Australia, and they scored like after the hooter. It was quite incredible. What do you make of this one, Gav? It should be a great watch one way or another.
Excuse me. Yes, I'm an Australian plus punter. I think 9 points is too much. I think Australia did enough to convince me that they're runners in this northern tour. I used to call it end of year tours. I know that the English or the Europeans call it autumn internationals. I think Australia, plus 9.5. I would have expected this to be close to 3. So I'm quite out. I don't know. How did you price this up, Brent? I
normally do price up. This week with the internationals, I actually didn't. So I'm not too sure how it would have been, but Gav, I'm going to halt right there now. We've got a few comments coming through, but more importantly, I've seen someone appear at the bottom of the screen. So let me bring him in now. Nicely timed at the start of the show. And Shane, I'm going to drop the comments.
But overall, I guess it was
Can you all hear me okay?
There we go.
We can hear you loud.
Fantastic.
Irishly clear.
I was going to put on a football jersey or something, but the weather's been absolutely fucking cats here. So
Brent, you moaned at me for swearing about 4 years ago. That's like started off swearing.
His first sentence.
Yeah, this is how we roll in Ireland.
How we roll anyway.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking. I've been watching the show for over a decade. When did you start? 20?
Yeah, about 8-9 years ago, probably started the show. I think it was about 2016.
Right.
somewhere there.
Shane, he was inspired by me starting my channel, and he said, "Whoa, hang on! If Oracle's getting this, I've got to do it."
Yeah, well,
Okay.
sort of. I must say, Oracle did provide a bit of inspiration, but I actually did a radio show on one of the local radio shows from 2009, and then when I discovered that you could do a show like this, I was like, gee, I don't have to drive 20 kilometers to do the radio show anymore. It was great.
Well, you're also,
and so but good to see you, Shakes. And needless to say, your name says it all there. Forgotten son of Oracle, a big fan of the man in the top right of the screen, eh?
I'm not sure how the whole mute thing works. So maybe. Well, I'll use this. Look, we have so if I want to talk, I'll.
Oh yeah, put your hand up. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. Yeah, just put it up. If you wanted, for example, if there is a little mute thing that you can mute yourself. If the line's really bad, sometimes unmute the guest and then sometimes forget to unmute them as well. But that's cool. And basically, that's really simple. You're in the studio, you're on now, you're talking. We got the boys in the live chat, and we'll get what we're going to do. Shane, I'd like to chat a little bit of cricket and just other betting in general with you at the end of the show. But we'll start off with the rugby, and the first game that we've just actually touched on. And you know what, Shane, I'm gonna come back to you on this one, Gav, just to finish your thoughts. But let's get straight into this one with you, Shane. We've got a -9.5 handicap, England at home to Australia, and a points line of 52.5. What are you thinking?
I'm off the bat, and with predicted bad weather and stuff that's going to be hanging around Scotland and Ireland. I haven't seen a lot of the totals out yet, but I would be hesitant to taking any on the over. So I think you're sort of looking at winning margins and either the plus handicaps like my good father would recommend. So I will take Australia 9.5, hoping that it's a crappy sort of 3-point kickers style game, which it could well be, because I think weather conditions are going to dictate a lot of this. I know you say Twickenham is an overs ground, which it is in the majority of the year, but no, I think I'll take 1-12 England, but Australia to keep them honest till about 60-70 would be my call. But they're also getting Australia at a good time. Apparently, a lot of the number 10s are out for Australia here or something. Is that correct? There are certain key players that are out.
Edmund, what's his name, is the 10. I think they are missing a few of their 10s. And generally, I think Fareed said he didn't like the look of the Australia team. And I'll bring it up now while we're talking. But I must say, a couple of weak links here. But overall, I quite like the Aussies. I think I would also be leaning towards the plus. I am going to watch the weather quite carefully. There is a bit of rain around, but it doesn't look like it might not be a bad day. And one thing I do know about Twickenham is the drainage is good. So if there's rain in the morning, then it clears in the afternoon, you can still go, you can still back your overs and you probably won't be too impacted by conditions. So
what time is that in again? Is that 3 o'clock local and then 4 o'clock your time?
Let me tell you what time it kicks off now. I quickly want to pop on 10 past 5 our time. So it's probably 10 past 4. Is it an hour difference at the moment?
Yeah.
Possible. I think you brought in a few new. I just want to take a pause for a second just to bring up a few names that are popped in, and I'm assuming you brought them because I see a few new names on there. Pressure, I think we've seen before. Oz without Skelton and Ikitau lat punch, and then Jim Ikitau is important for them coming in there as well. So I'm going to bring the team up now. Let's pop to Oracle to carry on your thoughts on this game, Oracle, while I bring the team up.
Yeah, so I saw the comments here. Australia without Skelton and Ikitau lack punch. Ikitau is important for them. I heard, and this is no reference to Presh and Jim, this is what I heard prior to the second Bledisloe Cup game in Perth when they came back. This will be different. There was no difference. So, the star players will perform in their environment. I don't know how else to say it. If the day is going well for them, they're well prepared, you're going to get a big difference. But when a team has been doing very well, you can't expect them to do and I'm going to use a funny way of saying this, but weller. You can't expect them to do better because they've got the same people. And when those 2 or 3 stars are not there, you under assuming that the next 2 or 3 people in other words, where I'm going here is you've got 15 players and 3 people are missing. I'm not the kind of person that panics. When 5 people are missing or 6 people are missing, then you can start to look at what it looks like. But a couple of people, and I know that Shane's from the Northern Hemisphere, and a couple means exactly 2, but it doesn't mean exactly 2 in my language. It could be, 2, 3, 4, 5. When a couple of people are missing, it's okay. But when a lot of people are missing, not so much. So I'm not worried that Ikitau's back and Skelton's back because they didn't perform. I know Ikitau, and I like him. I love him. And he's one of the 3 Australian guys I actually know their name. He's great. And I can't recognize him. If you put 5 Ikitaus on the screen, I won't get him right. But I do know from the commentator's voice, Ikitau's involved in the play right now. Ikitau. I hear that all the time. Skelton, I remember from Super Rugby when he came on as a 19-year-old. I remember him because he was the tallest guy and he was also the biggest guy. He was Bucky's Buerta times 1.3. Like the Ike was massive. So I do remember him. Would I recognize him? I don't know, but he was massive. And where I'm going here is I think it goes back to where I come from a betting perspective. Is I'm not too worried about the team sheet. I do believe the coach or the manager, or whoever you call him, picks the right team because he knows those players better than us punters and viewers know. And I know that, and I know Henrik's probably smirking or he's thinking to himself or he's turning his head. There are teams that are badly managed. I agree. Henrik, you're 100% right. But I do believe that if the coach is doing well, and Australia in a good position right now, if you compare and their best, no. But if you compare them to last year and even the World Cup, Australia are in a much better situation right now than they have been recently. Yeah. So I don't know if I'm too worried about that. 9 is too much. And if Shane's correct and the guys on the comments are correct, there's rain about or bad weather about, it only plays towards the plus. I'm a plus punter here. Am I going to increase my stake when I see the rain coming down and I see the bad conditions? Sure. Right now, nobody swayed me to become a minus punter. I'm a plus punter all the way.
Well, it's funny you mentioned Henrik because I see he's popped in on the comments and he says, thanks, Gav. I'm normally right. And he certainly was right, Henrik, on the Sharks last week. And once again, I was wrong. I was wrong. And 2M Systems actually says, Gav, your comments certainly hold true for the Sharks. Shane, before we move off this game, any closing words on this one? We will, by the way, discuss the Barbars game at the end as well. I just don't have any betting, so...
Yeah. I would possibly take the under 52.5 if that line is available and see it as an arbitrage position. You may get a bit of 10 points. If nothing has happened in the first 10 minutes, that could plummet very quickly and you have a chance to try and catch both sides of the fish. So I would take 52.5 as a very nice number to go under as a starting point if the predicted weather arrives, definitely. So yeah,
and Shane, even if it doesn't arrive, it does seem too high.
Yeah,
neither of these teams show any. There's no evidence that it's gonna be a 30-30 game here.
I disagree
the
totally.
Worst case for me, it's a 25-20. Done.
I disagree totally. I reckon if conditions are good, it's overs all the way. And I mean, look at last year's game between the same sides. I think it was 42-38.
Was that the first round?
Unbelievable game, hey?
Was that the first round of fixtures, or I can't recall now. I remember the game, but was that the first? It
was on the 9th of November, so it was the second week of fixtures because it was on the 9th of November. I remember I had a huge bet on the Aussies, and it was my birthday the next day, which is what I remember. And yeah, that was possibly. For me, if the weather's bad, yes, 52.5 is probably too high. If the weather's good, it's probably about right, the line, in my opinion, if the weather's reasonable.
Well, my father wants to say something. Go on.
Carry on.
No.
Carry on, Shane.
No. like I got burned last week back in the Sharks are like Tottenham Hotspur. You literally I thought I was going to sort of glide nicely on and over last week. The line was like 61 and a half at half time, and I had Henrik's face in my mind as I placed that bet on the over, and I went, I'm after going on the wrong fucking side. And I just went, if you see Henrik's face appearing in your mind, you know you're on the wrong side. And I got bloody walloped. Never. I had a beautiful, because you let us in, Brent, on the game before that against Ulster and the Bulls, wasn't it? It was like a cricket score, 70 points.
Yes, that was a big one.
You know, and I called that with you. I watched that and went, Brent is right about this. So I was all forward for that. And then I thought to deploy the same strategy on the Sharks. As the game in the first half unfolded, it was going that way. But man, I got bitten in the arse.
Yeah,
that was the end of my day.
I actually had a great weekend on the face of it, but I once again got involved with the Sharks game. And not only did I take a bit of the minus, but I took a late call. When I saw conditions, I went over 5.5 Sharks tries. And they had 3 in the first 20 minutes. Yeah. And you think to yourself, surely this is race over. But of course it was the Sharks, so it wasn't, unfortunately. Let's move on to the next game. I'm going to start with you, Gav. It's the Boks. Minus 37.5. You can add anything else in you need to before you start on it. And then points line here. This is, of course, at Wembley, so I guess conditions will be the same as Twickenham. Minus 37.5 and a points line of 64.5.
I have one question, Brent.
Yes.
Are they playing in Brighton?
Definitely not. That was a 38-point or 39-point start. I still say it's the biggest. As much as we've seen some massive rugby upsets over the last few years. You know, I'm talking 30-point favourites rolled by 30 points, like the Bulls Pumas. And that is still the biggest handicap I've ever seen where a team beat the handicap and won the game. 39.5, 40 points. That's what it was.
Yes, that's right. I was going to say it's a similar handicap to Brighton. I do remember, I think it was 38 or 39. I've just seen Henrik's comment here saying, so disappointed to hear Plumtree's over. You and I had the conversation over WhatsApp on the weekend. I think his management of the Boks and the Sharks team shows that Russie is very clever. Well, it did to me. I don't know. I mean, you sort of agreed, but that's how I feel. I think Plumtree is not a national coach. I don't think he's anywhere near that. But more importantly, the little banter between myself and Henrik, Shane and Henrik, I think you need to send Henrik the link. I don't care how many brandy and cokes he's had. Send him the link. He comes on, he doesn't, he doesn't. But now's a good time for him to come on for a bit of banter. I'm going to tell you, I expected this handicap to be about 20. So I'm halfway there. I'm way off. But at 37, I'm a Japanese punter here. After last week's performance against Australia, I know it's an away game for both teams, but more importantly for Japan. I'm a smaller punter. I'm not going to have a big bet here, but there's no ways under anybody's sun I'm taking minus 37 South Africa against a Japanese team that nearly won last week. Sorry, it's too many points. What the number should be, honestly, I thought it would be 20, 22. I don't know. But 37, that's country miles away from where I was even thinking. So I'm a plus punter purely because of what the bookmakers have come out with. Would I be a plus punter at 20, 25, 28? Probably not. But at 37, I'm definitely a plus punter.
Right. Well, lots of the boys chatting still about the Sharks and Plumtree. That was the big news this week. Mark Dumpy was saying...
Sorry. My wife is a Shark supporter. Okay. I won money on the weekend going against them. And you know, Brent, I took a plus on the other team. I gave her some money on Sunday morning. She goes, what's this for? I said, for the Sharks. She goes, but they won. I said, no, they didn't. They lost.
They never cover the handicaps, though, don't they? Yeah. As a team to fade, they're a bit like Cardiff City. You never know if you're coming or going with these sort of clowns. Like, just toxic stuff.
So, Shane, imagine what my wife's feeling. Wow, she's given money and her team won. She doesn't get it. and she'll never get it, but it's okay. I'm happy.
That's why relationships work, you know.
Yeah.
Well, as a matter of interest, Henrik is coming in. He says he won't be a good guest tonight. He backed India at 10.5 to 1 and 8.75 to 1 early in the chase. So he's absolutely flying. Well done, Henrik.
Yes.
Brilliant bets. As I watched that.
Yeah, so I'm going to tell you, Henrik, I saw those. I didn't see 10 to 1. I got it. I sort of looked at about 3 to 1, and I thought to myself, I don't know what to do here. South Africa beat this team, and I didn't have a bet. And Brent, you know as well, I backed South Africa when they're in huge trouble. I backed England when they're in huge trouble in other games. This game today, I didn't press a button. I watched it a little bit, not a lot, but well done, Henrik. I didn't press the button, but what a great game. And I honestly, I know sorry, Brent, we'll talk about it at the end.
I wanted before.
I was just going to generally say cricket is a very difficult game to win. I thought I had the romantic period, golden age in the 23 World Cup of men's of 50s. And I was earning a lot of money doing arbitrage stuff. And I thought this is easy, but it's an incredibly difficult sport to win on. And it's probably drained my bankroll more times than any other sport. If I'm being honest, I think it was a bad move for me to get interested in it. But there you go.
So I want to ask your opinion on the Boks game now, Shane. But before that, can you see on your screen, can you see the comments I bring up?
Kak mooi, a bit of Dutch.
That's what I want to ask you to pronounce.
Yeah, no, my mother's from the Netherlands. So
okay.
I'm sort of half Dutch and half Irish. So I like to say the odd line here and there. So I understand the heritage, boys, is all I'll say. I'll leave it at that.
Right. And what do you make of this game? I mean, if the Boks really wanted to beat this handicap, I've got no doubt they could. But first game of their tour, they play in France next week. They've named a very strong side. I can see a situation where the Boks maybe get the job done early and step off the gas. But I'm not saying I'm going to get involved in the handicap here, but I'm in agreement with Gavin. You know, if I am going to get involved, I'm not taking the minus. I'm probably taking the plus. What are your thoughts?
I would probably look at Japan's team points. What's the line for that, guys? Anyone seen
64.5 less 37. Gav's good at this. He'll work it out for us quickly. About 13.5.
27. So 13.5. What is that? Yeah.
I'd probably go over on the Japanese.
Yeah,
team
I agree.
As a sort of a simple style of bet, because as the great article often says, like, time is your enemy on these large handicaps or high totals, and if they're not really pushing the guns near the end, your bet just dies. So I'd take Japanese team points.
No, 100%. In fact, I'm going to bring up the points line here. 13.5 at 8. It's at 8 to 10, but depending, it'll be around that mark. 13.5. I'd have to agree with you guys there. I must admit, I quite like that one as well. So Japanese points, and Oracle's got South Africa Japan on the plus. Let's stay with you, Shane. We talk about big handicaps. Here's a bigger one for you. Minus 43.5 against the hosts of the World Cup in 2031.
This is actually a very similar handicap line when Ireland played USA in the autumn internationals. I think, it's maybe two cycles ago. I remember the line was about 46.5 that it closed at, and Ireland didn't beat it. So
where is this game, Brent?
In Murrayfield.
Okay, Edinburgh. Yeah.
Yeah, but looking at some of the early data of sort of past USA opening autumn internationals, they are quite high scoring and full of tries. So it could be more to play on the total. Again, assess what the weather is. But 42 is a sort of like a banana skin number, really, isn't it? So it's maybe a pass on the handicap and maybe a small play on the total, whatever the line is.
62.5. Let me quickly, I'll quickly have a look now and see what the US, what the different points are there. The US will be about 9.5, 10.5, somewhere around there, I think. And Gav, your thoughts on this game?
USA plus all the way.
Yeah.
2 reasons. First reason, they've never been smashed by Scotland. Second reason, their World Cup is in 2031. Yes, 2031. That's sorry, I'm looking at the year on the bottom of the screen here. That's in 6 years' time. I'm plus all the way here, and I'm going to tell you, take a 10% unit, so 0.1 units back USA on the board. No ways the minus arrives here. I'm not buying it at all. This is a USA will beat the plus, and they could even win the game.
Well, I can tell you lots of differences of opinion in the live chat. Johan's saying Scotland B team, I'll back the overs. Fareed is saying Bookie's got the line wrong, cap should be 50.
Sorry, Brent, you're right. Well, I just want to point out here, Scotland will not be fielding their best team. We know that for sure. That's not going to happen.
They've announced their team. They've announced their teams.
Okay, even if they've announced it, if they do field a very strong team, those guys will the big players, the Buckies, the Mornay Staines, the Hendrik Pollards, whatever, they're best players. They'll be off after 20 minutes. The juniors will come on. They'll put on a show. USA plus. I'm sorry, 43.5 is it's too much. It's too much. I'm a plus punter, and I will have a bet here, proper one.
So I tend to agree with. I mean, it's not the worst Scottish team. I'm not disagreeing with you there, but I think the bet here for me, and Shane, I think you touched on it, but I'm going to bring it up now because we got to. Well, I'm actually not going to bring it up because I've got to. But I can see USA points, Shane, 10.5 at even money.
Yeah, that's doable, isn't it?
Yeah, it should be. I mean, an early penalty and a late consolation try, as long as it converts. Oh, no, you still lose. Sorry, 10.5.
No, what you want is in running over 9.5 or something. Yeah. So they only really get 2
Brent,
scores.
It goes back to, and Shane, it goes back to what we've said before. 9.5 and 10.5 are completely different in this bet, this particular bet we're talking about, because it is a try and a penalty. Yeah. And suddenly you've got to score 2 tries. It's all 4 penalties. Very different. Yeah. I know, Henrik, I agree with you, but 43 is too much. Too much.
What does Crow mean by this? Oracle needs a rebuffering.
It's probably the quality of my screen. I see that mine's worse than yours. I know we spoke about this, Brent. I need
okay. No.
I have cleaned it and whatever, but probably got to take it to one of these IT shops and let them do a car wash on my computer. I don't know.
Okay, no, I wasn't 100% sure what he meant on that one.
He can't see my Lions shirt clearly because he didn't watch the game last week where they smashed Ulster. Where I had 17 friends of mine going, Ulster going to smash you Lions Oaks. And I said, all right, well, and they told me -5 was value. And I said, okay, let's go. I couldn't believe I know I'm going URC here, but my gosh, I cleaned up last week. I went to the ATM and withdraw banknotes after hitting the withdrawal button and the withdrawal button. And the withdrawal button, my wife, she's sleeping with so much, I don't know, cash on the card. She's happy. It was ridiculous. The Lions were badly priced and they absolutely shat him.
Yeah, I
know I'm not meeting the explicit over 18 content that Shane's given us tonight, but I'm trying.
So let me stop you right there. Patrick says Shane looks like the Admiral's dad. Any relation? What do you think of that one, Shane?
The Dublin lad. Yeah, well, he's probably he's half my age or less. I suppose he's an under 19.5, isn't he?
Yeah. No, the Admiral's an illegitimate son of mine.
How many bastard children do you have scattered around the world?
I actually used to work as a waiter in a restaurant when I was 19 years old. And one of the permanent staff waiters, like the Ike was in his 40s, and he spoke about saying, and I said to him, what? And I don't know how we got to it, but he said to me, I have no children that I know about. But he said, I'm confident it's over 3. And I actually believed him. So I have no idea. I'm going to go with a guy. I don't think it's that many, but I do agree.
Thank goodness your wife is sleeping there. on that one. Right, let's go to the big game, and I'm gonna finish with Shane on this one. Let's start with Oracle on this one. This game, of course, is taking place in the USA. It's a 10 o'clock kickoff here in South Africa. But what a cracking match this should be. There's been quite a bit of movement. There was -3.5 New Zealand, up to -5.5, back to -3.5. Here I'm seeing +6.5 now. Appears to be with the line sitting at the moment with a points line of 49.5. Oracle, Ireland against the All Blacks.
This is a rare call, Brent. And I can see Henrik sitting there going, what's Oracle going to say? Well, Henrik, I'll put you out of your misery. I'm a minus New Zealand punter here. I think this is not enough. I think New Zealand win this game comfortably. And when I say comfortably, I mean over 10. 9 will be okay. 10, 11, 12, could be 15. Will they win by more than 20? Probably not. But I'd say between 9 and 13 is my sort of range here. New Zealand will win this game. They've got a point to prove. I'm a New Zealand punter. I think this is a great handicap for us New Zealand punters, and I'm one of them today. Not always one of them, but I am today. I think this is value. New Zealand minus. Like it.
New Zealand on the minus. Fareed reckons it's well kept. Just to run through, Mark says also, and bear in mind, Mark's also Irish. He's saying New Zealand will beat the spread. And Gaz, on the other hand, and I assume he is, he must be talking about this game. He's definitely not talking about Scotland, USA as a coin flip. He reckons it could be tight. And what does Henrik say? He's backed New Zealand -3.5 last week, right? So he got the price. And he also, like you, doesn't like backing New Zealand, and I can confirm that. I think for Henrik to back the All Blacks is a bit like Henrik backing the Sharks.
Very, very rare.
He doesn't enjoy it. And so now let's see what Shane says, because Shane, of course, I mean, heart must be saying Ireland, but what does the head say?
No. I'm all about the balance. I don't wear colours when it comes to trying to earn money. It's
You're wearing a purple colour.
Well, that's
Which
royalty.
team is that?
That's royalty. So we can talk
That's
about
royalty.
No. Like Rob Kearney lives around the corner. Well, I say he lives about 10 minutes around the corner from me, and he was on earlier on, and he's very right to say this Ireland team is undercooked. They're unprepared in terms of actual game time. There's aging players in there that aren't playing at their outright best right now, and we're still up and down playing who is our best number 10 now. I think they did make the right choice in dropping Sam Prendergast because the other young fella from Munster is at a better level right now. But no, I would probably be looking at New Zealand -3 the first half. I think New Zealand come out and batter Ireland in the first half. And then you're looking at a line of maybe 12 at halftime, Ireland +12 handicap or something. They could get mauled in the first half, and then the game is just managed by New Zealand in the second half. And it may, I would agree, it could fall in the 7-14 scoreline, which you could try and be clever and do New Zealand 1-12 as well if you want. But I think you're right. I think the line is fine. I think just don't complicate it and take the -6.5. And could be one of the few overs games of the weekend, actually, with the Chicago sun weather. So, I think 49.5 is not bad. Yeah, so I think we're all in agreement. New Zealand just win.
Yeah, I must say, I'm not firm on anything, but I tend to be leaning towards New Zealand. But I like, Shane, what you mentioned there, which caught my eye, was this points line. I think this is the sort of game where, if it was a World Cup quarterfinal, I'd be saying under 49.5. But, this international, I do think we're going to get, we're going to get some points. Let's just see. We got a new poster here, Vital 20 coming in. It's always risky to bring a guy's comment up before you've read it, but nonsense. This is a 50-50 game. 4 means nothing. It'll be all about who wants it more on the day. Ireland by 2 points. So we got someone coming in there for the Irish as well. So obviously Ireland board price there. What are we looking at?
15-8 or so.
Yeah, 15-10 here we got. You could probably get a bit more depending on where
2-1, I'm sure you'll get if you look around.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, so we got quite a bit of difference of opinion. Crow Rugby saying he really likes Shane's halftime shot. So that takes us to the end of those internationals. I want to bring up.
Sorry.
In fact, what does Henrik say? He wants to discuss the URC outright betting. Henrik, let's do that. I want to talk about one more game, and then let's talk a bit of URC, and then let's talk cricket in general and whatever else might come up.
Brent,
So
I noticed you left out a team. Are Argentina not playing this weekend?
Not to my knowledge. I haven't seen any betting on it.
Okay, that's interesting. I would have expected them to be involved as well. Okay, yeah.
But it's good to know you did your homework, though, Gav. It's refreshing.
Well, there was
we're going to be talking about Argentina.
There are 4 rugby championship teams, and you only spoke about 3 of them. It was not very difficult going 4 minus 1. But okay, yeah, got it.
No problem. What I did want to bring up a game I haven't seen any betting on, Shane, but I know you mentioned it to me earlier on X when we were busy chatting a bit. Is it the Barbarian? Have I got the fixture right? Barbarians against the All Blacks?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that one?
Where is this guy?
This is somewhere in the UK, I think Coventry or somewhere. I'd have to look it up again. It's on 1:10 Irish time, which is an hour ahead in your place, so 2 o'clock. But
I believe Leon Zass is playing in this game, and I heard that on the radio in Cape Town. That was quite interesting.
There's a lot of South Africans, am I right?
Yeah,
for the Barbars, there's quite a few South Africans.
I haven't seen
Evan Roos is there, I think.
There's been very little coverage about this game, to be honest with you.
It won't be on TV in South Africa.
No, I'm not sure if we're getting it either. Like I said to you many years ago, you could set your watch on these Barbarians games. They start off slowly and soon they're over 60 points. But I don't know if those good, easy days are still here anymore, Yeah.
And the opposition tends to take it much more seriously these days. So you find the opposition treat it often like a proper. Look, this is not a full-fledged New Zealand side. Yeah. But I mean, I remember the days, Gavin and our mutual mate, Brendan O'Connell, we used to do spread betting. And I remember buying shirt numbers at like 130 in these sort of games. And as you rightly say, Shane, there'd be like a nervous 15 or 20 minutes where the Oaks would play proper rugby. And then after that, it would just open up and the spread would end on 180 sometimes and stuff like that. But lately, some of these Barbarian games, the Barbars are trying to play open rugby and the other team are smashing it like a World Cup semi-final. So it has been very different.
Yeah.
So we don't have betting, but it'll be a good watch, that game. I think it probably will be on in South Africa. And we'll certainly cover it on the forum, and I'll probably put it up in the international blog on Good for the Game as well.
Me, guys, is Super Sport, do they literally own every live TV event in South Africa? And they call the shots.
Shane, you don't understand. You want to watch anything, okay? When I say anything, I mean, I'm talking 98%. You want to watch something, it's on TV. We got 1 million channels.
Right.
And we pay 800 Rand, which in your money is probably something like 35. No, less than that. 35 euros.
Oh, wow.
38 euros, whatever. It's less than 40. Yeah. And literally, people say to me, you watch DSTV Premium. I say, yeah, because I watch the sport. I'm happy to pay it because when I want to watch something, and Brent, you'll know, we never see Japan playing Saturday morning. When they're at home, it's never on TV. So there are exceptions that you'll never see. When Japan plays rugby at 7 o'clock our time, which is 5 or 6 o'clock your time, in the morning on Saturday, it's never on TV. Don't know why, never found out. But honestly, when you come to South Africa, Shane, there's a bedroom here for you. You're welcome.
Thank you.
You put on the TV. You will be blown away by what you can see. You can watch anything. It's unbelievable. And people moan for 35, 38 euros. They moan. For me, it's free. Yeah. At that price, it's absolutely free. I enjoy sport. I can put my TV on and watch what I want to watch. It's unbelievable. I don't have to subscribe to this guy, subscribe to that guy, subscribe to this one. It's all on one TV, one platform, I'm a multi-choice premium punter. Advocate, whatever you want to call it.
No, it's quite different up here. It's sort of
I know this.
Sky Sports rule the roost, and then all the other guys get the other pickings, and it's split 3 ways, and it's gone to sort of like, it went to the High Court a couple of years ago about TV rights, saying Sky can't have everything. But it seems like you have.
I know, we're cruising. We can watch every EPL game, right? Premier League soccer. Every single game is live on our TV. Every game. Don't miss anything. We get all 380 games live, no issue. You don't have to pay extra. It's all there. Done. It's there.
As Hendrik says, the reality is if you're not a sports fan and you're paying your 1,100 Rand a month for DSTV,
I know, you're getting robbed. If you don't enjoy sport, you're absolutely robbed. You might as well go to the police station and get done for theft because you've been robbed.
Yeah, and like Hendrik, I don't want SuperSport to treble the price, but I hear what he's saying. Ultimately, it's the best value. We get the best value for sport, and I've heard horrible things that things might change down the line, but at the moment, we get the best value for sport. I mean, Peter Paul also mentioned even the UFC, which is like, I'm sure, pay-per-view everywhere else. We get the UFC card, and I mean, I'm a big Mackenzie Dern fan after last weekend. And
25 years ago, they tried to charge us that pay-per-view for boxing, and nobody paid, so they just put it on anyway.
Yeah.
So Henrik reckons we'll get top 14 as well sometime. So certainly I think we've got. Well, I don't know. Farid says DSTV coverage for rugby is rubbish. I disagree there, Farid. Yeah, we don't have everything.
I 1,000 times disagree.
Yeah, and the fact that you don't have to pay, as you say, extra for it and that. But let's quickly touch, gents, on the URC outright. Henrik, I see he's taking a position on the Stormers. They've obviously shortened now to just under 6-1. This is a net decimal figure.
Okay, all right. Let's talk about that. I didn't know the price. I saw Henrik's comment. I'm going to tell you 6-1 is probably double the actual price. And I've looked at this price for 5 years now. These bookmakers are not putting any work into this. They go 5-10 Leinster. Who's second favourite? Let's make them 10-1. So, granted, you might be one of those people that says, I've got Stormers at 10-1. No. You're getting them at 6-1 today, 4 games in. That's bigger value than 10-1 before they kicked a ball. So 6-1 is probably the value of 20-1. This is a badly mathematically priced league because they start their algorithm with Leinster 5-10. It's ridiculous. There you go. Henrik, 5-2 max. I was going to say 3-1 max. But yeah, I would have priced the Stormers team right now, and we go back to Super Rugby where there were no algorithms, and people looked at what they saw and they looked at the log and they watched and they remembered what they saw on the weekend. Stormers could easily have been 2-1 in this situation. They look unbeatable, and yes, that's their current. It's like gold. Gold's just gone to $4,200. Bit of a pullback. Oaks are saying when it gets to 3.5, buy again. Buy 3.7, buy 3.8. The point is you're going to have a bad point in your season. Stormers' bad point hasn't come yet. I'm a Stormers punter. Stormers can win this tournament. They're above everybody else. This is the worst start, and I'm going to tell you, I don't even know statistically. This is a gut feel. This is the worst start Leinster have had in this entire tournament in 10, 12, 15 years. However long they've been involved, this is their worst start. And this is the best start Stormers have had. So, I don't know. Is it a great time to back the Stormers? I say probably not, when all things are equal. But yes, in this case, yes, because of the Leinster start. Whatever their number is on the table, I'm not looking at it. Whatever their number is on the table, Stormers have the ability to stay above. They played enough away games. I don't know. I like the Stormers team, and I'm not a Stormers fan. I really aren't.
Well, as long as Henrik doesn't get his account sort of flagged for putting on a sneaky bet, because if he plays,
he's not. If he's betting, he's unlikely to be betting on anybody that lives in his street, anybody that has the same surname, and anybody that's linked to him on Facebook. If he's clever, and Henrik's clever. So, if I was getting on someone else's account, I could live 500 k's away. Wouldn't be here where I live.
Because that sort of thing, it would be seen as a bit of an anomaly.
100%. I was one of those people. I used to analyze the punters. It's look at their bets. This is Shane. This is Brett. This is Henrik. You can see them a mile away. I don't change their DNA.
We had a situation up here. An independent bookmaker. I won't say his name, but basically this punter had done 2 NFL anytime touchdown score bets. He put €20 on each one, 11-2 or 9-2, just to try.
More money.
Yes, small money, and they are basically stale prices that had not been updated by the system of the independent bookmaker. And of course, that never goes down well. And he had his account closed. And in today's world, you can basically have like an open trial on Twitter. You can call out what malpractice has happened. And he was right. She kind of said, no, I don't want my account back if this is the way you're going to treat customers, just because they took the best price on the odds checker feed, which is basically like a shopping basket supermarket of all the bookies live feed prices. And he took them for 20 quid. And it's this sort of nonsense of small money where people are just getting, their leisure time curtailed just because.
So my example of that, and I like that you pointed that out. So I buy the 5 litre, we call it in South Africa, we'll call it a papsak. So it's the soft pack of wine inside a cardboard box. Now, box wine's obviously cheaper than bottled wine. And you get these Lani posh wine farms. But if you just want to have a bit of wine and Coke like I do, the Portuguese drink, Katemba, I'll buy the local box wine. I don't know, in today's money, 200 Rand for 5 litres, so 40 Rand a litre. Get a 22 Rand Pepsi and off you go. But I just make a mistake in the shop. And let's say that 200 Rand wine is now 20 Rand. Okay, so they've missed a zero. Now, you can go in there and you can buy the 20 Rand one. And the Oak will sell it to you. The cashier will sell it to you. They made a mistake. But if you get a bucky or a truck outside and you load up 500 of these things, they're going to say, sorry, we made a mistake with the price. You can have 1 for free. 1 at that price, sorry, not free. 2, maybe 3 at that price. But the rest you have to pay the full price for. So I do understand that bookmakers will make a mistake. And I've been on that side of it. The guys put I put 100 to 1 instead of even money. I made that mistake, went to court, we lost. Punters made 100,000 Rand. In your money, 5,000 euros, thereabouts, because I made a mistake and went 100 to 1 instead of even money. I was a youngster, I was in my 20s, whatever. The point is, I tried to explain to them at the hearing. So you saying to me that Gavin, who's 29, 30 years old, can make a mistake that can close a company. And they just looked at me like, you don't make the mistake. I said, sorry. And I used the example of Pick and Pay, or I don't know what supermarkets you have in Ireland, right. Costco, whatever. All of these. You make a mistake on a price. You can't expect trucks to stand outside and people just to walk in, pay your mistake at the till. Hey, I paid. I did the honest thing and load the truck up. You can't do that. Like at some point you have to say, sorry, we've made a mistake. That's it. You can have your little 5 Rand, 10 Rand, 50 Rand. And I always, as an analyst, I always went back to people and said, hang on, you're 100 Rand punter, but you've put 1,000 Rand on this. You can't do that. Like, if you put 100 Rand on, I wouldn't have even taken the phone call. I would have just paid you and let you walk away. You've had your 1 box or 2 boxes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just like, you're right. It's a mistake. But then there are thieves out there that will capitalize, and they literally walking down the aisles, to use the supermarket analogy, walking down the aisles, knowing every price of every item on every shelf, waiting to see something wrong and just loading that bucky or the truck or the aeroplane or the boat, whatever they're coming in. So people also disagree.
Just to conclude on the story, like the same bookmaker in question, I sent a rocket up his arse because he was basically kept suspending an in-play URC rugby match last year, total points. And I had his website window open, and then I had Bet365, and I was cross-referencing, and one was suspended and one was not. And I went, right, if that's the way you're going to play it, So then about 3 weeks later, there was BBC Sports Personality of the Year award, which is basically a one-off sort of sports award at Christmas time. But it can be seen as one of those stale market prices that sort of gets up the backside of a bookmaker. So I think the winner was a female 5,000 GB runner meter, and she won the Olympics. Keely Hodgson was her name, and even money. And I was looking for 150 euros. Trader dongle comes up, a pop-up window. You have been referred to a trader, and then 25 euros.
And they don't want to talk to you either. They'll message you, but they won't talk to you.
So I literally got that, and then when I sort of put up a message on X about it, he was like, "Oh, one of those NAF markets, overnight NAF markets, stale prices. If that's what your game is in your 40s, we don't want your business." And I was like, "Well, fine, but don't be suspending someone trying to take a total points in running on rugby when you're already paying a 10% margin or more, because the margins are all baked in play because they know they can be picked off. So don't be sort of whining and saying someone's trying to get over when the try is scored, when one is suspended, and bollocks."
Brent, Shane used a word called whining. That was quite nice. He could have used a number of other adjectives to explain that one, or nouns. Well done, Shane, for keeping it down to whining.
As Neil Andrews used to always say, it's a family show.
Yeah, that's why I said whining. It was great, actually, Shane. I really enjoyed that. I only use whining in a long time. I'm going to use it tomorrow at least 3 times.
I actually remember the one time we had Mossman on, and he gave me he was very confident on one of his NPC picks, I think it was, or Super Rugby. I think it was NPC. And I remember looking, and I said, "Oh, there's still -5.5 available with like Bet Exchange or whatever." And I didn't look at anybody else. And he said, "No, man, it's -9.5." And I actually placed the bet like during the show. And then I looked around, and everywhere else was -9.5. And I was thinking, imagine I now get limited because I took a bet, and I didn't even know that I was taking advantage, if you know what I mean. But fortunately, it was a small enough bet.
But that's basically what the customer said on the NFL example. He didn't know he's taking a stale price, and then the bookmaker's going to whinge the other way and go, "Of course, he knew what he was up to."
Yes, and you know what? Let me give you an example, and it'll lead us nicely into the cricket chat as well. You know, you always hear people say, "But he knew he nicked the ball. He knew he nicked it. And why didn't he walk? Why didn't he walk? Why didn't he walk?" You know, to use an example, have you seen how many cricketers refer things where they have nicked the ball and they still refer it? Because sometimes you just don't know, you know, and that
I've thought about that.
It's a stale market and that. Hey, Gav?
Yes, I've thought about that, and I've watched that little line that they put on the screen, and it jumps, and I think to myself, he didn't give me the confidence or negative confidence that hit him or didn't hit him. They don't know. And often they surprise Brent. They walk off and they go, "How am I out? I didn't touch that." Because I'm going to use an example. I was in the Kruger Park in I think it was 2015, 2016.
Is that for older women? Cougar Park, is it?
Cougar Park. No, not Cougar. Animals. So we're camping, right? You're going to enjoy this. We're camping and we're in a tent. And the neighbors, the guy's telling everyone he saw the big 5. Now, he's talking about this leopard that where we were. The guy said there's a leopard there. Now, Brent, to put it in rugby perspective, this leopard was easily 5 rugby fields away. So 500 meters, half a K. And the Ike pulls out this camera that the lens is longer than, I don't know, 5 of my pup suck 5-liter wines, right? There's so long. And I said to him, "I'm sorry, you said you saw the leopard." He said, "Yes, I saw it." I said, "Bro, you can't count watching it through a telephotic lens that can see an ant walking on a buffalo's balls that you saw the big 5. I said, "I was there." Ike said, "There's a leopard there." We couldn't see it with a naked eye. And in fact, with cameras, we couldn't see it. So, yeah, you people will come up with all sorts of things to say they've done something or seen something. No. It has to
But
have
tell me,
happened.
how long were you working in the industry? Is it all you've done in your illustrious life, or have you worn many capes?
Shane, I was a debt collector, security guard, a waiter, bar manager. Picked what are those things called? Potatoes, fried mushrooms in supermarkets. I delivered the newspaper. To put it bluntly, I've done every job under the sun. I can communicate or articulate with car guards and CEOs, and I've never been wealthy. I come from a very modest background. I know where I came from. I'm there myself. I've had good salaries, and I'm currently, I bought a business with the help of a silent partner, put a bit of money in myself. But honestly, I'm earning less money than I did last year, but I'm 100 times happier.
Great.
Yeah, this is my first brand new vehicle I've ever owned. I own a little panel van which I use for my work. I've always bought second-hand cars or auction cars. I've owned property, but honestly, you lose unless you're going to live in it for a long time. I invest heavily. I'm big on gold. You've heard me talk about gold many times.
Yeah.
Yes, it's going to drop a bit at the moment. There's a bit of a down spike, but it's going to $10,000. If you've got nothing to do with your money, stick it in gold.
That's what I need to find out how to start up an investment scheme in gold, because I think that's fairly solid. You know?
You've got my number, Shane. You were on my WhatsApp a few years ago. Message me.
Oh, actually, yeah, I deleted it. I must get it back. It was just like a ticket taper of punters, and I was too much information, so I had to exit the group. But I shall we? Yeah,
Oracle also exited that group. I can tell you.
I did.
Oracle was the only guy who started a WhatsApp group, exited, and then asked to come back in 3 months later.
It's been pissing rain here in Dublin all day. Literally, it's one of those days where you literally just don't go out of the house. So
I remember you making a comment on Twitter many years ago saying that it was 29 degrees and it was almost blue.
South African.
The sky was almost blue. You said you're going to enjoy the day.
Yeah, they're
we
rare.
have so many of those, we take them for granted.
Yeah, no, it's because of climate change that we get that now. But
Donald Trump is your problem.
Yeah,
Bumpy.
We won't get into that debate because I can tell you I might disagree with a few things there. Hey Shane, quickly before we move off the URC, so what do you think? I mean, Leinster 13-20.
Sorry, Brent.
Yes.
Before you go to Shane with his questions, show us some prices. I'm really interested to.
I bought the prices up.
6-1. What are my Lions team after a couple of wins?
149 to 1.
150 to 1. That is crazy. And the Sharks are badly priced at 16 to 1, 15 to 1. That's crazy. The Bulls,
but Leinster 13-20.
No, I can't believe that. They start odds on and they still odds on after having their worst. Shane, you have to not agree with me here, but maybe you have to tell me you've watched them through Pro 12 and Pro 14. Leinster at this price, is this too short or is this how they always started?
No, I think going historically about 10 years ago, they would have been about 1 to 2 on 1.50. So you can see they've only gone about 15 ticks
10%,
out. Yeah, which is it's not great. And judging on the past couple of finals in this competition, at least a South African team has got to the last 3 finals. Is that right?
Yeah.
So why don't you just? How many teams have we got? We got the Bulls, Sharks, Stormers. You could almost split your bet 3 ways and just.
They're missing a digit in the Bulls price. That's how you answer that question.
So
the Lions at 150 to 1. You've got to have a bit of punt in that. I mean, you can lose that seriously. You can lose the Lions bet 100 times and you still make money. They'll win this tournament eventually.
Yeah.
Darren saying the Sharks 16 to 1. Yeah, I'd have to agree there. But Stormers, I never thought about it and I hadn't checked the betting, guys, but I must admit, the Stormers there, I mean, even if they have a few
value,
wobbles
Brett.
between now and the end, you've got to see them probably with a home quarterfinal, home semi. And as Henrik said at some point, if you are looking to trade, then the Stormers at sort of 6-1 is certainly a decent position to take now.
Even 5-1. This is 6-1. But even I'm going to say
I'll have a look
9-2. I'm a Stormers punter.
Now I'll have a look, see what the best prices are over here, just on the comparison grid, and just see if there's. But those prices, they don't look terrible, to be honest. You know, if you want to go against Leinster, but yeah,
Correct.
I think Leinster could be turning into a Man City. You know, they just implode, and their season doesn't get back to where people think.
So I read something, Brent, many years ago. Guy, I can't remember where it was. And again, I'm sorry, I don't remember. But the guy said to me, he didn't say to me, I read it. It said, if you want to back a team, back them when they've been on a run. In other words, find the place where they've lost a lot of games in a row. The price will have gone lower than where it should have been. And if they've won a whole lot of games, the price will be higher than what it should have been. Vice versa, sorry. So let's say a team is even money. If they've won a whole lot of games, they'll be 8-10. Back the other team. You're getting 12-10 off even money. And vice versa, back them at 12-10 the other way to win when they've lost a whole lot of games. And in this situation, from a bookmaker, and I was a bookmaker, I wasn't the registered man on the license and registration forms, but I bookmaked. And I got to tell you, whenever I start the season and I look at this 5-10, 6-10 Leinster, I think to myself, this is a computer-generated form that's looked at number of years of results. It doesn't represent our current times. So this is it's almost like Tiger Woods being priced up at 6-10 or 7-10 when his absolute worst was 9-10. And when they interviewed him, they said, that's a crazy price. And he was right. Oak was up against 150 players. He should have been 3-1 minimum. I mean, Brent, you are old enough to remember when Ernie Els won in 1994, 1995, the favorite in a golf tournament was 16-1. 4 years later, Tiger Woods is starting at 9-10 to win majors. That's crazy. So this is Leinster for you now. 5-10 is a stupid price about a team that has to beat 15 other teams. Too short.
They will also most likely be involved in the Champions Cup. So that's often where they're going to shift. Look, on golf, I agree. By the way, I was on Ernie I think it was 50-1 in 1994. So from memory, I was watching at the Randburg waterfront on a Sunday night there. And I mean, the golf, I agree with you even now. But having said that, there was a time where 9-10 is probably ridiculous. But there was a time where Tiger would be 3-1. And
I know, I lost money on him. I know. I went against him. I took the 5-10 the other.
The win rate is crazy.
And I lost.
Here's an interesting one, just to change the topic, because I also did a bit of reading on this, or Chris actually did. Gavin, did you see the ruling today on sportsbooks not being able to offer casino games anymore? Have to have a casino license from now on. Reckon that's a big knock to the sportsbook. So, very interesting ruling. Henrik, I don't know this myself, but Chris had a look, because I sent it to him, and he had a look. And the whole debate about casinos and that. Yeah, I'm a bit worried about some of the youth and that, how they get into casinos. Sports betting, unfortunately, it's all going to be one day probably grouped together. But for me, sports betting is very different to casino. But
that's the problem. They betted both of them, and they're literally 47% of the profits are from feckin' button punchers.
Sorry. This is the 6th time that Shane has broken your rules. If you ever say something about me saying shit on your show, I'm out, bro. You can't do that. Shane,
they're not necessarily my rules.
Thank you, Shane.
They're not necessarily my rules. Just when YouTube do pull a show down, they never very.
No, tonight's show is not on your algorithm. It's gone. They've wiped it off already.
The live viewers can watch tonight's show. No one else. But I wanted to make a point on this thing. Gavin, I'm not 100% sure, but doing a bit of digging, it seems that this was a specific case as well, and it might well be a precedent for future things, but it's probably going to be challenging that. But this was specifically the Gauteng Gambling Board, I think, that made the ruling, and it was against, I think it was Super Bets were involved in that. So all of these are, so I don't think it actually impacts any of the other gambling boards at this stage. I mean, I haven't really done, so it may not be as dramatic as it sounds, is what I'm saying here. I mean, I would imagine that all of these big bookmakers, they've invested a lot of money in not only advertising, but in, software, this, that. And I imagine they've very much known about this ruling. So I don't think we're going to see any dramatic change. But I do think, and I've been saying it to a lot of people, that it's going to come, because there's a lot of talk about, and I mean, I see it with my son's friends and that, man. They're all on playing Aviator and blooming dates on the Betway dates and all sorts of stuff. It is going to happen. And unfortunately, I think everyone, your non-sports bettor doesn't see a difference. It's gambling. They just, gambling is wrong. Gambling is bad.
Well, yeah, it's games of skill versus games of chance.
Exactly. Exactly that. I mean, sports betting, it doesn't mean you're going to win, but it is a game of skill. Yeah. And like poker, for example, over time you could play the odds, and you can't do that on the slot machines, at least not to my knowledge.
Well, once they changed the way licenses could be ran on UK and Ireland and European sports books, they became glorified casinos, and they realized that their profit margins were so much higher on people, cross-selling them into casino products, because they lose their money quicker, and that would cause more impulsive behavior and all this sort of stuff. But it's a 2% problem rate that has basically changed the landscape for 98% of the rest of the customers, and it'll cut. The ship will come your way, and if it does, you'll notice the difference. Monthly affordability checks. Once you hit a certain amount, you have to show your ID. You have to pull your trousers down with your passport, showing. It's gone.
I'll warn you again, Brent. Listen to this. This is good content for our show. I'll warn you again. Don't say anything to me.
Sorry,
No, don't say sorry, Shane. I'm enjoying this.
But it's going to basically decimate the business as the recreational business will go, and South Africa will unfortunately probably suffer. But they say South Africa is one of the last growth places for the betting industry, because Europe is tired. America is going to get pretty much tightened up,
and they've just opened. I mean,
literally.
Yes.
But there is a great documentary you should look up. I'll try and ping it on BBC. It's BBC Africa, and they're saying the problem gambling in, I don't know what territories in Africa, but they were literally very poor black guys just going into a betting office and with a ticket as long as a shopping list.
Shopping list, we call them, yeah.
Yeah, and it's obviously an accumulator for about £2 that'll turn their life around. It's sad stuff, but no chance to even win anything. But it's BBC Africa did a documentary about those. They're awful small little pokey places where people, where it's obviously poverty.
Australians call them pokies, yeah.
Oh yeah. But no, it's. Yeah, so I don't know. You guys know better how South Africa is probably going to roll. Hollywood Bets are doing well, and Brentford are doing well.
Look, we always lag behind. Bear in mind, betting was illegal in this country except for horse racing until 1994. So we've always lagged behind. Like we were a bit behind, and on the legislation. But you're right, it's coming. It'll come to South Africa. There'll be all this nonsense, and that's the thing for me. I do wrestle with it a bit in my own conscience, because I mean, I've got no problem getting people involved with sports betting, but always saying to them, it's not for everyone. And you can, some people I would advise not to do sports betting. I gave up casino betting years ago, but it does worry me that just the sheer ease of access and kids coming on. But ultimately, I don't know. It's a tough one, but we are lagging a few years behind, and we will get there. And as I say, for me, all I really worry about is the sports betting side. I just don't want that to be taken from me, if I can put it that way,
if the profit margins aren't there, and like horse racing is a massive expense in the UK and Ireland, they have to pay track rights, TV rights, etc. And you have just bookmakers moaning, saying that they take X amount of money in a day, but then half the money is gone on the TV rights and levy board pays, etc. So the product is not paying them anything back over a long term. And they're not going to take big bets on horse racing anymore over here. So it's
interesting one. JJ Bauer coming in. He's in the US, and you can't bet in every state. Like my state, Nebraska, is no betting. He has to use his SA sites and presumably a VPN or something like that to bet. So yeah, interesting times ahead there. I just want to, Gav, I want to bring you in here because I quickly looked while we were talking at the betting for the women's final. And India 7-20, South Africa 9-4.
Yeah, before we go there, I want to answer Henrik. So obviously Shane's spoken about it now, and you've spoken about it. This legislation in the South Gauteng court. So South Africa, I don't know, Shane, maybe you can punch in here at some point, but how the gambling board works in South Africa is very interesting. You've got a South African gambling board, so the national one, and then you've got the 9 provinces or 9, I don't know if you call them provinces, regions, states, whatever. Yeah. So the state or the province in this case makes a ruling, and as long as it's not against any other law, so it's not like I'm going to allow, I'm Western Cape, I'm going to allow under 17-year-olds to bet. There are certain things you can't do. So it's got to be 18 and above, and there's a whole lot of general rules that apply to betting. But the National Gambling Board will make a ruling and say you can't call watching a roulette spin as a fixed odds bet and have your bet. Now it's a grey area, and I'll have over a few beers or a couple of coffees.
Yeah,
I'll say a few beers and a couple of coffees because they're the same amount of time. I'll have that conversation with you. It's a grey area.
Yeah.
The point is, this court has ruled that the gambling board is right, and they shouldn't be betting fixed odds on these. What they see. The reality is, it's going to take years. Shane, I noticed on your Twitter you had something 79. I'm guessing you were born in 1979, so you're 8 years younger than me. I'm 54, so you're 46. Yeah. I think you may have grandchildren before this ruling applies to the whole country, if it ever gets there. And South Africa have been accused, and I'm a proponent of this. I'm one of these people that tells the world this. We are one of the most liberal countries in the world. Yes, we've got our BEE and we've got our race laws, and all good for that. We should have them. We had a bad past. But honestly, people say to me, will you ever go to Australia? I said, no. And I've been told by Australia friends of mine, I'll be arrested within 2 weeks because of how I behave in South Africa. I can't go to America. I spent time in England when I was younger. Today, I'm happy to live in Africa and to live in South Africa. I'm free. And John Oliver, you can watch if you ever watch John Oliver, he's got a show on how freedom is different to different people. People view, you say, are you free? And they'll say yes. And but hang on, you live behind a barbed wire fence. Yes, but I've got this freedom and that freedom. And in South Africa, it's difficult to pass a very big law like that. In fact, South Africa came from a non-betting situation in 1995 to, yes, it's 30 years ago. But we came from that, whereas you guys, when I say you guys, I mean England, Ireland, Europe for that matter, where I worked in a bank in Tottenham Court Road, northern London, between Tottenham and Arsenal. And my bank manager, I said to him, where are you going? He said, I'm going to have a punt. I'm back in number 6 in the 4th. And I couldn't believe that because I'd come out of a bank in Joburg where I had to sign a long disclosure that if I went to the racetrack, this is even before sports betting, that I had to tell them I was going to Turfentine for the day on Saturday. And I had to get permission because I had access to actual cash, because cash was a few meters away, a few feet away, and I could have taken it. Maybe I got a key or a passcode or whatever it was. But I was blown away sitting, and I'm a cashier in this branch at Midland on Tottenham Court Road, and the manager says, "See you in a bit. I'm going to back number 4 in the 6." And I'm thinking, but that's crazy. You'll be arrested in South Africa. That was
we had a story of a guy that basically he worked in the post office and he had access to cash. And he robbed the post office because he had a gambling problem, and he spent like $1 million in Paddy Power. And then Paddy Power were trying to find out where the bets were coming, and they're coming from a small local shop down in middle of Ireland. And they drove by his house and looked at him and went, "There's no way this guy's a millionaire. Where's the money coming from?" And they brought back the trail to him, and he was arrested. I think he got 5 years in prison or something.
Brent,
he can't spend £1 million, like.
Exactly. And this is not the same number, but it's the same prospect. I remember laying a bet. Now, I'm the rugby bookmaker at Marshall's World of Sport in the early 2000s, maybe 2006, 2007. Wales are playing Australia, and England are playing South Africa, same day. Guy takes a double, South Africa to beat England. This is board stuff, just to win the game. South Africa to beat England, Australia beat Wales. Double. Puts 150,000 rand. He brought cash in, actual banknotes, into our branch in Amanzimtoti, south of Durban. And the manager phoned me and he said, "Gavin, the Oak's got 150,000 rand in cash." I said, "Do you know him?" He says, "Yes, I know him. He works down the road." We took office punts. We didn't pay each other out because we didn't get the outcome. But this was a guy working on a Saturday morning, access to the safe, thinking, "I'll steal this money, grab myself 1.13 in your language, 0.13, 13% of the money, and I'll cash out and I'll put the money back in the safe." And if you look it up, I can't remember what year it was 2006, 7, maybe 8. Australia were winning the game. Sorry, Wales were winning the game, and Australia scored in the dying seconds after 80 minutes. So 80 plus, red line on the screen. And South Africa smashed England later that day. But his money was all this. And we were thinking, like, this guy's going to shoot himself or he's just going to disappear because he'd taken this money out. The guys in the shop, the clerks, knew who he was. They knew where he worked. They knew he didn't have the money. And, you know, yours, European, English, Irish gambling boards would go, "Hang on, why did you accept the bet?" Yeah. In those days, we didn't care. And I'm going to say today, we don't care either. We know we're nowhere near that. We are years away from this kind of thing being banned.
It's changed now because we have AML, which is called anti-money laundering laws. So basically, if you go in and place a bet of, say, €2,000, it's going to get checked. They want to know.
Okay, so what? All right, so no, I like that. So what about 1990? Are they still checking me? Because we're going back to was that Sopranos? Remember that woman with the barrels in the back garden? She deposited 9990, and the clerk said to her, "These are all 9,990." He said, "Of course they are." She said, "Of course they are." I want to stay undetected. I don't know. So
the betting bits are brilliant in Sopranos. You know, when he goes in, he has a bet on a chariot race, you know, with the big wheels.
Yeah.
Because his daughter's name was Mellow Gold or something. The boss wants 10 grand on 2-1. And then you know, they're all lined up there watching the race, and he's like, "Can you not just look excited for the boss?" And he's like, "No." And it gets done anyway. Comes second loses by a nose or something, right? 10 grand gone. But you know, but Tony Soprano was a bit of a punter, wasn't he? New York Giants, big money and whatnot. Part of it.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that something I've advised Henrik in the past is the guys want to get 100 grand, 50 grand onto a rugby game. Take your 4,900 and go to, 25 betting shops. Nobody's picking up the phone to phone head office saying, "Hey, there's 5 grand on this game," because it isn't 5 grand. And then they go, "Oh, 4 9's a bit dodgy," so you go 4 8, 4 7, 4 6. At some point, nobody's picking up the phone. So yes, those limits are aligned. And if you want to beat them, the clever people beat them, and that's it. You're right, Mr. Good for the Go.
But yeah, no, it's unfortunately the Wild West days are pretty much curtailed because government is getting involved, and you now have basically the pleasure police are installed. Basically,
Yeah, I'm saying South Africa the government hasn't got involved yet. We're still a long way from that. This is the Wild West, actually, Shane. South Africa right now. Wild West. You can drive down the highway, there's billboards. Yeah. You listen to the radio, there's adverts, TV.
Yeah.
We're being bombarded here. We do what we've got is what Australia have got legislation against. We're nowhere near that. Yeah. We're years away.
Well, I think Australia banned in-play betting, didn't they?
Yeah. They used to have the spread on the screen, Shane. Yeah. England are playing India cricket 280 to 290. Remember that, Brent? In the early, you could see the spread on the screen. Oh, we've never had that.
Yeah. So I think the fun days are over here very much for.
Then come to South Africa, Shane, because they're not over for a long time.
But yeah, the days of going in with a wheelbarrow of cash or having anything substantial
wheelbarrows are cheap, yeah.
But and as regards cricket betting, just to kind of, unfortunately, I lost my my sack of gold on when the women's South African women's collapsed against England, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was England in the first game.
Shane, you asked that question that night, and that was their worst game. Yeah. They've absolutely smashed everybody since then, except for the one
Australia.
game they didn't have to win. Yeah, one game they didn't have to win because they were in the semi-finals. And here we are. I was thinking we're going to back South Africa. Australia. We're probably 3-1. I'm going to tell you, 18-10, almost 2-1. If you look around, that's huge value. We beat this Indian team well. This is value. You want to back India at 7-20, 1-3, 3-10? You're mad. Rather watch the game and have a bet with your wife or your husband. Punt South Africa 2-1 here, 18-10, 2-1 is huge.
When is the final? Sunday?
Can they do it? Yes, they can.
It's Sunday. Is it the final?
Yes.
Yeah, the Indians, they love having finals on Sundays. Like nothing happens on Monday in India. I don't know.
But there are many South African Indians.
I know.
Or what's the word? Diaspora that will be all.
I know, yeah. Durban apparently has the highest number of Indians in a city outside of India. Yeah.
Wow. It's an interesting melting pot you have there. I won't go down that road here because we unfortunately have huge problems with illegal people coming over and that sort.
Ours aren't illegal. They arrived before 1600, so they're not illegal. No, honestly, I mean, that's
we trying to get the show pulled either, so we have to keep the conversation clean.
No. I think the algorithm's going to not know where to pull the show tomorrow. It's going to be like, which part do we choose?
India at 7-20 is not value.
No, 100%.
Even if they don't win, it's still value back in South Africa.
Yeah, and I wouldn't take the 7-20. If you are going to back South Africa, you might want to take the 9-4 because they may not get any bigger than that. But if you, I agree.
No, hold on, Brent. Sure. Let's talk about that for a second. I think it gets bigger. I think the English and the Indians are backing India. I think we might even see 22-10 or even 5-2.
Well, remember on the screen we got 9-4 already, Gab. I don't think it's going to go much bigger than 9-4. That's where it is now.
I think it can.
I'll tell you what, it's on Betfair now. The magic, the almighty exchange.
What's the Betfair double right now?
I'll tell you that. Let me have a look. Because still, actually, cricket is the strongest liquidity sport.
Yeah, it will be, especially in running.
You basically have all these white illegal bookies that are seeding the market from in India, literally, and it's going through the feed of the exchange. I don't know how they do it, but you see more money for a cricket game than the World Cup final. It's just bizarre stuff, you know. It's let's have a look. Cricket.
So you can log on to Betfair without a VPN, right?
No. I'll set you up. No. What I'll say is, if you want to have a price or use my account,
No, it's
no
crazy.
problem.
I mean, that's something
That's
that's not
true.
allowed
That's
here.
what- We're all friends here, you know. So, 3.4 is South Africa, 12-5. This is
2.2, 2.4.
But fair enough. But on the exchanges, you do get a bigger price than generally with the
Okay,
bookies.
so what's India's price? If they, so that'll be close to 4 to 10. 1.38, 1.39.
very good. Spot on. 1.4,
Okay,
and
4
which
to
is
10,
2
right.
to 5 in fractions. So that's at 100% book. So the
Yeah,
margin
yes.
on the back side is only 100.8, and on the lay side to bet against is 99.9. So if
Yeah.
you add those two figures you should get just under 200. Or sorry, it's.
I will point this out, Brent, and I know this from doing analysis on my own work in the betting industry over 25 years. Cricket is one of those unique sports where 80% of the money is taken in running, in play.
Yeah.
15-20% is before the game. Almost all of it is during the game.
It's too difficult to predict.
Yeah, of course.
And
I'm going to say that more than 50% of that money is halftime and later. In other words, the back end of the game.
Yeah.
More of the in-running money comes at the later stage of latter stages of the game.
Yeah, no, and like I said to you, I wish I never got into it because you just lose your shirt on it. It's you know, you think you're in a good position, and then because something bizarre happens, and you're out home to dry. You know
when you have a cricket bet, you back the team that's currently losing, especially in ODI and T20. The team that's losing is the team to back.
Yeah.
Because if you back the team that looks like they're winning, you're getting robbed every time.
Yeah,
Even if you have one bet, so you back a team that's losing and they lose, done. You're fine. Cool. Walk on, walk away. Next game. That's where the money is. And when the other team starts losing, you back them as one. You make an overrun situation. It's the most negative thing. It's like you're thinking somebody, your wife, your girlfriend, your partner, whatever, says, who do you think's winning here? So I think Brent's winning. Don't back Brent. Back the other people. I don't know. It's so hard. It took me years. I'm not joking. Years to get my head around that you've got to back a team that's currently losing to win the game. Because rugby and soccer, we don't do that. It's the other way around. Especially rugby. You back in the team that you can see is winning. Even if it's a handicap. Could be a 10 handicap. They're losing at 12. You'll still back them. But
I think lads, you have your sports and I'll call them triggers, i.e. markets. You shouldn't be betting in that
100%.
That can basically change your psychology of your day or how you're doing. And it's almost like a self-sabotaging thing that you go in again because you think you're going to get the result this time. But you can well, yeah. Well, yeah. But no, I just think cricket is one of those sports that shoves the triggers in the wrong way for me, and I just have to flag it and go stick with soccer, bit of horses, and the rugby, and you do
turn it up. TRB, turn it up. If there's no winning, turn it up. Stop doing it.
Yeah,
move away.
I'm going to turn up the show now because I've got a bit of work to do tonight. But
an hour and a half, Brent. I was wondering when you were going to call it.
I think Crow Tips and the Admiral and Mossman made an hour and a half, which was a record. And I think by the time we've got our best bets in, we probably would have beaten that record. And Gab, I'll start with you. Biggest fancies on the weekend. Feel free to throw cricket in there as well.
Yeah, listen, I think from a price perspective, this is your bar sells beers for 30 Rand. They're selling them for 20 Rand. You have a few more. They're selling them for 40 Rand. You have one or you go somewhere else. I'm going, go for the 20 Rand beers. South Africa's a 20 Rand beer here in this Cricket World Cup. Sure, you might not get drunk, but it's value for money. Back South Africa. They can win. They've beaten India already. We watched the game. From a rugby perspective, Geez, I like Japan plus. I do. I like Australia plus. I like New Zealand minus. Who's the best? I'm going Japan plus here. Out of all of the rugby games, I think Japan plus offers the biggest value. This is a very, as we spoke about earlier, very eerily similar handicap to that of 2015 in Brighton. Yes, are we much better? Of course we are. We're much better. Can we beat them by 50? Of course we can. It just doesn't feel, it just seems too high. Seems a lot too high. Otherwise, this would be 20, 25. So on a mathematical point of view, I'm going back Japan plus. And if you're scared, right? If you're scared and you want to wait for South Africa to get 14-0, 10-0, then go back him at plus 48. No problem. You'll get your number. I just like that plus. It just seems too high.
JJ coming in with our NFL bet, Dolphins plus 8.5 tonight in the NFL. And I'll give you final say then, Shane. What's your best play of the weekend or best plays of the weekend?
Don't let the players be the only ones to get paid. That's my bet.
I like that.
No.
I like that. I like that. That's
no. You can use that if you want, but no, I think New Zealand -3 first half, or New Zealand -5.5 is. I think they should win and they should beat the spread. So boring, but I'll take that.
Excellent. Well, that brings us to the end of the show. Thanks to the gents in the live chat. First of all, Shane, to you, great having you on, mate, after all this time watching. And
me, guys.
if there are any other guys who long-time watchers who want to come on the show, just drop us a note. It's always nice to mix it up a bit. And Oracle, you've had a couple of weeks off, so you've come back refreshed. And good to have you back on, and have a good weekend, eh?
Thanks. It was horrific 3 weeks ago, Brent. I got everything wrong except one game. I think it was horrible. You do get those weeks, unfortunately. Not unfortunately, I suppose. Can you imagine if you won every week? You think you're bulletproof. You think you can call any game you like, any result you like. You can't be like that. So, you have to turn it up or take a break. And I think breaks are important. A lot of people ask me what was my worst weekend. It was 2013. I did 42 grand, I think it was, in 2 rugby games. Shane, for you, that's easily, I don't even know, 2 grand, 2,000.
Yeah, no, that's what I did at the South African women's.
Yeah.
On the runs.
Well, 12 years ago, I did that in 4 hours. 2 rugby games.
Well, I did it in half an hour.
4 months off.
Yeah, because it's like being in the boxing ring, and the psychological punch to the brain can take a bit to get over the trauma. But you can't scream or moan about it. You just have to suck it up and just not take it out on the wider world.
Brent, another word? Got it? Is your
That's
algorithm working?
By the way, when I leave the studio afterwards,
you are giving.
I'll leave the studio open so you guys can carry on chatting if you want. But let me end the stream now. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next week for the handicap rugby chat that matters.